All right, all right, all right. What's cracking, my dudes? This is gonna be my UFC 317 picks and predictions video. It's your boy KZMMA. Gonna go ahead and hit you guys with the stereotypical YouTuber intro there. But let's just go ahead and get right into this card. We got a nice pay-per-view coming up. Excited for it. We're going to see a whole bunch of sick-ass fights, and let's get right into it. Let me go ahead and get my screen shared. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, big bang bosh. We're good to go. All right, first fight on the card, we got a couple of regional scene guys that came in on short notice. Jackson McVeigh versus Christopher Ewart. The original fight for this was going to be Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. But now we're getting Jackson McVeigh versus Christopher Ewart. So that's sick. Sijirkas Dumas was going to fight, but, he was too busy getting arrested for the 57th time. So now we have to deal with Christopher Ewart and Jackson McVeigh. Two big, high-quality names that everyone knows. Just kidding, not really. So yeah, Jackson McVeigh, he's a finisher. He's a first-round finisher type of guy, first-round submission type of guy. If we look here at his record, round one, round one, round one, round one, and round one. So he's finishing everybody in the first round. So I'm going to just go ahead and go out on a limb here and say that this guy isn't fighting the best quality competition if he's just going out there and finishing them in the first round. And now Christopher Ewart, he's a tough Chilean dude. He goes to decision occasionally, which means he has 3-round cardio, and that means he's fighting people that are a little bit decent that can't just be fucking chinned in the first round. Like this Reese Watkins kid, young, 23-year-old. And I watched that fight. They went good for 3 rounds. Reese Watkins started to gas out towards the end, and Chris Ewart just held tough. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Chris Ewart just from what I've seen. I feel like he's a bit more of a dog. Jackson, if he's not able to get Ewart out of there early, which I don't think he will, he's probably going to struggle. He's probably going to, I don't know about his cardio because he hasn't been out of the first round, but he's probably going to, get discouraged, and Ewart's going to come on strong. He's got that tough Latino blood. So we're going to go with mi hermano, el Latino Christopher Ewart, and then Johanata Diniz versus Alvin Hines. I'm pretty sure Johanata Diniz is going to show levels here. I'd be shocked if Alvin Hines came in from the regional scene to go ahead and get a win over Johanata Diniz, who only lost to Marcin Tybura, an actual legit ranked heavyweight in the UFC, not just some regional scene dude like Alvin Hines. Alvin Hines, he's your typical big brawling heavyweight, got decent enough wrestling, decent enough hands, nothing too special really from Alvin Hines. He's just a big ass dude that can hit pretty hard. And then Johanata Diniz, he's a big ass dude that can hit hard, and he's pretty clean technically. So the only reason why he lost to Tybura was because he tried to engage in the grappling, and that's not a good idea when you're fighting someone as good as in the jiu-jitsu as Marcin Tybura. I'm pretty sure Johanata has learned from that mistake. His corner and coaches are probably like, why the fuck would you do that? And he's like, I know, man, I'm sorry. What do you want me to tell you, huh? That's more Italian than Brazilian, but what do you want me to tell you, huh? But yeah, we're going to go ahead Johanata Diniz here by KO points. I feel like that's a pretty easy call here. Johanata Diniz has fought the better guys. He's been in the UFC for longer, and his only loss is to Marcin Tybura. So there's no shame in that. No shame in losing to Tybura. If you're not like one of these high level upper echelon heavyweights, Tybura is going to beat most of those guys that are on the lower end. So we're going Diniz, easy pick for me here. And then another easy pick for me here, just based on the odds. The odds are disgusting for Jacoby Smith versus Nico Price. Let me go ahead and get this maximized for you guys. Let me just show you this with McVeigh and Ewart. There we go. Let me show you for Diniz and Alvin Hines. There we go. Diniz coming in with a big reach advantage too. That's always nice to see. But yeah, Nico Price versus Jacoby Smith. This is definitely a layup fight for Jacoby Smith, a fight for Jacoby to come out here, look good, get a performance over a name that most hardcore fans know, and Nico Price. Nico Price, I'm pretty sure he's towards the end of the career. He had a career where he's taken a lot of damage, and that kind of reared its ugly head in the Robbie Lawler fight where he got put out in the clinch, didn't really take that big of a shot, just the perfect punch from Robbie Lawler put Nico Price out in Lawler's retirement fight. So Jacoby Smith, nowhere close to retirement. He's a powerhouse. He's a super athletic dude, undefeated. He's coming in here probably looking to get another KO win. I mean, he's got 8 KOs, 2 decisions. He's on a 4-fight KO streak. Like, I'm pretty sure he's going to get Nico Price out of here. Nico Price is a huge underdog. If you're feeling confident on Price for whatever reason, I mean, you can go ahead and make some money there on him. I'm gonna drink a bit of soda here, even though I shouldn't be, because I'm gonna tell you guys, I was laying in bed all cuddled up with my girlfriend. Like, I didn't want to come on here right now and do this. I was like, let me just stay in bed and be lazy. And I thought, you know what? Quit being a fucking bitch. Get out of bed and make this video for the people. Who the fuck else is gonna make UFC 317 prediction videos for the people besides hundreds of other channels? But none of them are gonna make them like mine. So let me fucking go ahead and do what I gotta do. Your boy works full time. I'm just like you. I'm just like you. Looking in the camera. I'm looking at you, motherfucker. I'm just like you, bro. I work for a goddamn living. All right. I'm not just a full time YouTuber. Yeah, I don't know why I started talking about this, but I'm tired, bro. But all right. So now we got so we got Jacoby Smith by KO. Highly confident pick. I mean, he's a massive favorite. Like, come on. Terrence McKinney versus Vyacheslav Borshov, they like to say, but it's Borshev. I can see it there. It's an E. I'm looking at it with my eyes. It's not an O. So Vyacheslav Borshev. I'm liking Terrence McKinney here. If you watched Borshev against Chase Hooper dropped him nasty. Chase Hooper nearly knocked him out with one punch, which is crazy. So it's like if you're getting your shit rocked by Chase Hooper, Terrence McKinney is going to kill you. Like, I don't care. Like, MMA math, whatever. But I just feel like Terrence McKinney is dangerous. He's only lost to like some of the best guys in the division, as we can see. Drew Dober. He rocked Drew Dober's shit bad, and then Drew Dober came back and won because he's a tough son of a bitch. He got TKO'd by Ismail Bonfim. Bonfim looked great in that fight. Lost to Nazim Sadikov. Nazim Sadikov has a win over Ismail Bonfim. He just had a fight of the year contender over at Baku. He's been looking insane. And he got TKO'd by Esteban Ribovic, who's also been looking insane. He had that fight of the year contender with Daniel Zellhuber. So Terrence McKinney is only losing to some of the best guys in the division. Maybe not the most highly ranked guys, but the guys that are definitely going to be higher ranked in the future. So he's losing to the future contenders of lightweight. And then Vyacheslav Borshev, like, as we're looking at his record here, he got dusted by Chase Hooper. He got a win over James Yontop. James Yontop is a tough, fat Peruvian guy. Lost a decision to Tom Nolan. Draw against Nazim Sadikov, which is aged very well. That was a sick fight. That was a war. Got a win over Mahashata. I mean, is Mahashata really that good here? Like, what is his record looking like? He's coming off of a decision loss to Nicholas Mota. TKO to Borshev. I mean, come on. You got to win over Gabriel Benitez, who was super washed. Yeah, 30, 37, 36 at lightweight. Oh, come on. Yeah. Borshev, I just feel like he's hittable, and he got dropped bad by Chase Hooper. So I feel like if you're getting dropped bad by Chase Hooper, Terrence McKinney is going to come in here, and he's really going to fuck you up. And if you've seen Terrence McKinney fight, this guy fights like he gets paid by the minute. Like he wants to get out of there as fast as possible. Not paid by the minute, but he doesn't get paid by the minute. Exactly what I'm trying to say. He wants to get his opponents out of there as quickly as possible. He fights like he's tripping on acid. He's a maniac. He's a powerhouse. He hits hard. He's fast, dangerous. I see McKinney getting it done here, and I see him getting it done in the first round, like he usually does. So. Moving on up to Viviane Araujo, as they like to say, versus Tracy Cortez. I'm going to go Viviane Araujo. She's a big underdog. Slight underdog, it says here. But, Tracy Cortez, I feel like she's just a bit overrated, in multiple ways. But, Tracy Cortez, she got pieced up bad by Rose. Like, she got dropped nasty by Rose. Credit to her for hanging tough for the 5 rounds. She didn't give up. So, Tracy Cortez isn't just a cute girl that quits and fights. She's tough. But I feel like Viviane Araújo, she's lost to the best of the best in the division. You know what I mean? Like she's lost to Natalia Silva, future champion, just came off of an insane win over Alexa Grasso. Amanda Ribas, you know, that was a close fight with Amanda Ribas. Amanda Ribas is quick. You know, she's got good kickboxing. She's very, very well rounded. She's a lot faster on the feet than Tracy Cortez. She lost to Alexa Grasso, former champion, and lost to Caitlin Sermonara, you know, Caitlin Chukagian, which isn't, you know, the prettiest loss, but Caitlin Chukagian, this was back in 2021 when Caitlin was more primed. I think she was on a decent streak at that time. And, you know, Caitlin Chukagian is a tall, long girl for the division. She's got decent striking. So, yeah, at the time of beating her, she was coming off of a win over Cynthia Calvillo. Before that, she got TKO'd to the body by Jessica Andrade. And, you know, she was on a decent little streak. She beat Jennifer Maia. She beat Amanda Ribas, which is a good win. So, Caitlin Chukagian, you know, she's not champ material, but she's definitely a higher level girl in the division. So, I'm going with Viviane. I just feel like she's slicker on the feet. You know, she's just got better footwork. She's got good fundamentals when it comes to striking. She really made Karine Silva look bad. She exposed her bad in that fight. She was an underdog in that fight too. So, you know, I feel like Viviane, as long as she can keep it on the feet and Tracy doesn't have really much success with her wrestling grappling, I feel like Viviane can piece her up to a decision. You know, just land the better shots, stick and move. And I feel like she can go ahead and beat Tracy on the scorecards. I do not see a finish happening in this fight. You know, it's a ladies' fight. I'm not really telling you guys anything crazy there. But yeah, I would bet the over, even though the over is going to be insanely inflated. It's probably going to be like a minus 400 or something. But moving on up the card here, we got Hyder Emil versus Jose Delgado. I'm going with Hyder Emil. You know, Jose Delgado, he's not really beaten anybody too impressive. He's coming off of a KO win over Connor Matthews, and Connor Matthews, you know, he's a low-level guy. He's lost a lot in the UFC. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, he gets cut after his next loss. Yeah, he's on a 3-fight losing streak, all by finish. You got KO'd by Bazookia, KO'd by Delgado, and then fucked up by Yadier Del Valle, that Cuban sauced up monster that came in off of the Contender Series, I think. But yeah, Hyder Emil, man, he's an absolute fucking dog. He's just gonna keep coming at Delgado. I don't see Delgado landing a shot to KO him like he did with Connor Matthews. I see Hyder Emil just, you know, if anything, he'll eat those shots. The guy's a monster. You know, he walked down William Gomez. He beat him up. He had Gomez, you know, really looking scared in that fight because, you know, Gomez was hitting him with everything he could throw at him, and Hyder Emil just kept marching forward just like a pit bull. So I'm going Hyder Emil. I feel like he's a slight underdog, which is kind of surprising. But I feel like he's gonna be able to pressure Jose Delgado for as long as the fight lasts, and, you know, win a hard fought decision, or, you know, maybe get a late TKO. As we can see Delgado potentially slow down after getting pressured by Emil for however many minutes this fight lasts. So we'll see. Jose Delgado, you know, he's got sharp striking. If he could maybe hurt Emil, but I can see Emil just toughen through it and then just really like putting the pressure on him, getting a takedown, keeping himself in the fight, and then, you know, getting Jose Delgado tired. And then that's what I'm seeing here with this fight here. I got Hyder Emil just by pressure, pace, and dog toughness. Gregory Rodriguez versus Jack Hermansson. I'm liking RoboCop here. Jack Hermansson, you know, he's a great fighter. He looked good against Joe Pyfer last time they fought, but I feel like Gregory Rodriguez is a bit smarter than Joe Pyfer. He's got a bit like a more intelligent pace and pressure that he applies, and he's a bit more versatile with the strikes that he throws. You know, Joe Pyfer is just like one big overhand, a couple of jabs, and then another big fucking overhand, you know. Gregory Rodriguez, he can mix it up pretty well. You know, he's got a nice lead hook. He's got decent jab, decent straight punches. He should be a little bit smarter with the pressure than Joe Pyfer was. And that was a 3-round or 5-round fight with Jack Hermansson and Joe Pyfer. So Jack Hermansson had plenty of time to work, plenty of time to get him tired, and plenty of time to take over later in the fight. This only being 3 rounds, I like RoboCop big here, either by KO or points or even by submission. You know, he could get a club and sub. He could knock Jack Hermansson down and then wrap up a submission. potentially. So yeah, RoboCop money line would be the play here, just because he has multiple ways to win. He's a very versatile finisher. But yeah, man, you could say Gregory Rodriguez gassed out in his last fight, but you have to think that was against Jared Cannonier, someone who was probably a lot more anxiety inducing to fight than Jack Hermanson. You know, you're thinking like, I have to go out there and fight Jared fucking Cannonier, like the killer gorilla. Like, this guy can put my lights out. Like, you don't really have the same kind of nervousness going out to fight Jack Hermanson, you know. Like, this guy can piece me up to a decision. This guy can choke me out maybe, but you don't really think like you're just going to get put out with one shot from Jack Hermanson. And then that was his first main event too. Could have had anxiety there. And then also Gregory Rodriguez kind of gassed himself out trying to go for a finish as he hurt Cannonier early in that round 1. So Cannonier, using his veteran experience, was able to outlast Gregory and, you know, get him out of there later. Let me see, when was that fight exactly finished? Yeah, Jared Cannonier TKO round 4. So yeah, RoboCop was dead at the end of round 3, I remember, and then he just came out for round 4 and just got finished. But that's Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier and Jack Hermanson are not the same fighter. Jared Cannonier is a much more dangerous and potent striker. I mean, he KO'd Jack Hermanson in round 1. I mean, it was kind of fluky, you know. Jack Hermanson shot into an uppercut, but Cannonier is probably going to get him out of there regardless of the fluky uppercut or not. And then he put Hermanson out of there quick. So common opponent. They both lost to him. Cannonier finished Hermanson in round 1. Cannonier finished Gregory Rodriguez in round 3 in round 4 after getting hurt early. So MMA math, I don't love it, but that's just, I broke the whole thing down without using MMA math before that. So pay attention to that. We're going RoboCop. Just straight money line because he can get a submission, he can get a KO, he can win by points. So we got Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. So Gaten Talbussy, who knows how much this guy's been training? You know what I mean? Like, he has a whole bunch of other hobbies. He's a skateboarder, pole dancer, professional pole smoker. He likes Frank Ocean, you know. And then Felipe Lima, he's just dedicated to the game. He moved from Brazil to Sweden to just have a better gym, to get better looks in training. He's really dedicated to this, you know. He looked great against Muhammad Naimov in his last fight, which is an impressive win. You know, Muhammad Naimov is a very good fighter, very well-rounded, good striking, good wrestling. But Felipe Lima was able to get him out of there by submission in round 3. You know, he put the pressure on Naimov. He just stayed in his face. Constant pressure, constantly had Naimov in danger. So I feel like he can do the same thing to Peyton Talbot. You know, Peyton Talbot still has clean striking. Peyton Talbot still has hands. So to think that Peyton Talbot isn't good is not true. He's a good fighter. He just, you know, has holes in his wrestling and grappling. And he probably isn't as dedicated to the game as a fighter like Lima, just a young, hungry Brazilian. You know, Peyton Talbot, he can lose this fight and his life won't be over. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, you know, it is what it is. We're just going to go surf and freaking suck off Frank Ocean. And then Felipe Lima's like, I need to win. This is fucking life or death. Like, I need to get my mom out of the favelas. Like, he needs to win this fight. He wants to win this fight more than Peyton Talbot. So that's where we're going Felipe Lima. I mean, Peyton Talbot, if he keeps it on the feet, then, you know, Felipe Lima can be in for a rough night. But I feel like Lima should be able to get this fight down to the ground. Just pressure Peyton Talbot, you know, keep the activity high. Don't let Talbot get settled and you get into a rhythm. You know, he's just got to be constantly pushing Talbot back, keeping him uncomfortable, getting in his face, pushing the pace, and not letting Talbot chill out, bro. So I like Lima here, either by decision or finish. I just feel like he's going to be the hungrier fighter and he's going to be able to get Peyton Talbot out of there just off sheer tenacity, you know. Pretty similar to Raoni Barcelos. Raoni Barcelos might be better just straight wrestling. But I don't know, man. I feel like Felipe Lima is going to be able to come in here and just put the pressure on Talbot and make him feel like he doesn't want to be in there anymore. So we'll see. Talbot KO is alive. I'm not going to tell you it's not. You know, he does have good hands, but I just don't see Lima allowing that to happen to him. I see him keeping himself safe. I see him winning at all costs, even if he has to win a boring fight. I feel like he'll lay and pray if he has to. If he gets hurt, he'll probably just hold on to this motherfucker. So I like Lima. He's a very talented prospect, and I feel like he can get this done for sure. So moving on, we got Beneil Dariush versus Renato Money Moicano. I'm going to go with Beneil Dariush, even though, Money Moicano is kind of more on a active winning streak than Beneil Dariush. I mean, he got subbed by Islam, but that's not, the fuck. Like he fought Islam on a day's notice, and then he got submitted. So it's like you can't really fault him too much for that. And, most likely the same thing would have happened to Dariush if he fought Islam on a day's notice. So, but yeah, before that, Money Moicano killed BSD, just ground and pounded the shit out of him, made BSD look like he didn't even belong in the cage with him. And then, before that, he got a couple of more wins over some guys. Let me see. I didn't take a good look at this. Got its decision win and submission grappling over Christian Guzman. Got a TKO over Jalen Turner. Yeah, Jalen Turner let him up and just fumbled that completely. Money Moicano survived, got up. Jalen Turner was like, what the fuck? And then he just got ground and pounded by Money Moicano. That was probably something that led him to retire as well, that fumble from Jalen Turner. And then before that, he won a decision against Drew Dober. But if you watch that fight, Moicano was getting fucked up bad by Drew Dober. He was getting pieced up. He really just had to lay and pray his way to a win. He didn't have much success going for submission attempts or with ground and pound against Drew Dober. He really just laid and prayed his way to a win. But yeah, Dariush, he's coming off of 2 KO losses to Arman Sarukian and to Charles Oliveira. But before that, he was on a crazy winning streak. He looked great against Mateusz Gamrot, but that was back in 2022. He looked good against Tony Ferguson. He got one against Diego Ferreira, got a TKO over Scott Holtzman. He was on like an 8-fight winning streak before that, before losing these 2 losses to literally the best of the best in the division. I don't think Money Moicano has the same potency on the feet. Jesus Christ, I can't stop burping because of this stupid Coca-Cola. He doesn't have the same potency on the feet as Charles Oliveira or Arman Sarukian. He doesn't have, the super fast head kicks that Oliveira caught Beneil with, or the one-punch KO power that Arman caught Beneil with. So I feel like if we can get a Beneil that was even close to what he was in the Gamrot fight, he can outstrike Renato Moicano. He's got more punching power. He's really, Beneil cracked the shit out of Gamrot. I'm surprised Gamrot didn't get knocked out from that punch because he really laid him out bad. And then he was just out scrambling Gamrot. Gamrot couldn't have success with the wrestling, and Beneil just kept it on the feet and beat him up. So I feel like he can do something similar to Renato Moicano. Moicano has decent Muay Thai, but I don't know, man. I just feel like Moicano wins when he gets these fights to the ground. Like, he doesn't win striking battles. He doesn't really look great against anybody on the feet. So I feel like Dariush, if he's able to have some kind of prime form left, I feel like he should be able to stop the wrestling from Moicano and keep it on the feet and just land the harder punches. Even if he's getting out volumed, like if he just lands a good one on Moicano, maybe drops him, that can get him the round. So I'm going to go with Beneil Dariush just by defending the takedowns and then just having the harder punching power. Now, this fight is sick, dude. Joshua Van versus Brandon Royval. This was supposed to be Royval versus Kopp, but Kopp pulls out of every single goddamn fight that he's in. So Joshua Van came in off of the win versus Bruno Silva last pay-per-view to take this on 3 weeks' notice. So Joshua Van's a savage. This kid, 23 years old. Jesus Christ, what am I doing with my life? But no, just kidding. But yeah, man, he's a young savage, Joshua Van. It's hard not to pick him in this 3-round fight. Like, if it was 5 rounds, I'd be on a Royval all day. But 3 rounds, I don't think Joshua Van's going to slow down over the course of these 3 rounds. And I feel like he's just the cleaner striker of the two. And he should be able to piece Royval up through the chaos. Yes, Royval has a reach advantage. He's got a 4-inch height advantage, 3-inch reach advantage. And he has much more experience. He's fought guys like Moreno. He's fought guys like Pantoja. He's fought guys like Kai Car-France. I don't know, man. There's just something about Royval that just tells me, like, he's not some shutout wrestler. Yes, he has good grappling, he has good jiu-jitsu, but he does not shoot in double legs, and he's not getting people down to the ground effectively. And Joshua Van has great takedown defense. So if this is just a striking battle, which most likely it will be, Brandon Royval is going to be very chaotic. He's going to be throwing knees, crazy head kicks, spinning elbows, just punches from all angles. But I feel like Joshua Van, with his skill set, just with the crisp boxing, with the power in his hands that he has, I feel like he can just catch Royval like in the chaos. You know, Royval is going to be throwing a bunch of shit out there, and then Joshua Van is just gonna stay focused, and he's gonna be able to put big shots on Brandon Royval. And if this was a 5-round fight, I feel like Royval would be able to weather the early storm and then take over late in rounds 4 and 5, potentially be live for a submission. You know, as Joshua Van starting to slow down, getting a little bit gassed, he can maybe force those scrambles and wind up on top. But Joshua Van coming in, he just had a nice 3-round performance, got a KO in round 3. He's coming with the cardio. He's coming in with the sharpness of just coming off of a fight camp. It's just hard. It's just hard to count out Brandon Royval. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It is. But Joshua Van, I just feel like his boxing is going to be effective enough. His counters are slick enough for him to be able to put shots on Brandon Royval over the course of these 3 rounds and win a decision. You know, Brandon Royval has dangerous knees, but Joshua Van, he has his power punching, I feel like, is going to be the game changer in this fight. You know, Brandon Royval, he can throw a lot of chaos out there, but if Joshua Van's countering him effectively, then it's going to be a long night for Brandon Royval. But if he can have success with the wrestling, Royval that is, you know, it's going to be a tough night for Joshua Van. But we'll see. I feel like Van's takedown defense can hold up, and then I just feel like on the feet, he's the slicker technician of the two. You know, Royval probably has more weapons with the amount of strikes that he throws, just like the versatility in the strikes with the knees and the kicks and the elbows and everything else. But I don't know, man. Sometimes just the fundamentals, just the boxing can be enough to get these wins. I mean, look at Ilia Topuria. I'm not saying that Joshua Van's Ilia Topuria, but Ilia Topuria is not winning with all this fancy shit. He's just going out there throwing hands, and he's beating the best of the division. So we'll see. I like Joshua Van here. You know, I'm not telling you guys go out and bet your money on these picks. This is just me doing what I do, breaking these fights down because I enjoy it. But you motherfuckers aren't losing your money because of me, all right? You're losing your money because of your own decisions. So be a man and take accountability, all right? But we're picking Joshua Van. I think he can get it done over the course of 3 rounds against Brandon Royval. You know, land enough damaging shots to get himself a decision. So now we got Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Kara-France. As much as I want to pick Kai Kara-France, because I literally pick against Pantoja every single time, I'm going to have to pick Pantoja here. I just feel like, come on, man. Like, how can we count this dude out at this point? Like, he takes big shots in his fights, and he just eats them like they're fucking cookies, and then he just keeps pushing, and nothing seems to stop this guy. You know, he's really... Pantoja's built different. It's crazy. You know, it doesn't matter how much damage you put on him. He's still going to be able to get the takedown and just control you and beat you up on the ground and work for submissions. And man, you know, I feel like Steve Erceg versus Pantoja, that could have been a robbery potentially. And then Kai comes out. He knocks out Erceg in a round. Very impressive. Kai by KO isn't the craziest bet in the world. But man, it's just like betting on Pantoja to get KO'd is just fucking rough, dude, because we've seen this guy eat shot after shot after shot, and it just doesn't seem to phase him. Like he gets rocked, he's just like shakes his head, and then he just keeps coming forward. Like there's the tenacity of Alexandre Pantoja is really something to be admired. The willingness to just absorb damage and keep pushing, like he just doesn't give a fuck, man. He's really a special fighter. Not special in the terms of just like technique. You know, he's not going out there throwing his punches and kicks like, oh my God, he's so clean. Look at how crisp his technique is. He's a special fighter in the fact that he takes everything that his opponent can throw, and he just keeps coming forward, and he keeps pushing, and his will to win is just insane. He just can't be stopped. So I just see Pantoja having success with the wrestling, just staying in Kai Kara's for as long as this fight lasts. He might get rocked by Kai Kara France, but who's to say he doesn't just get a takedown and recover like we've seen him do time after time after time. So I don't know, man. I'm going to go Pantoja. I feel like he's going to be able to get this done. I mean, we've seen Kai Kara France have success with the defensive grappling against people like Askar Askarov, Amir Albazi, but Pantoja is just on a different level than those guys. I feel like nothing can really prepare you for fighting Pantoja. But I mean, Kai Kara France has fought Pantoja before, so that's something that's a plus. But that was in like 9 years ago. That was a long time ago when they first fought. So both guys are very different. It's going to be hard to take much from that experience. You can't really think that Pantoja is the same fighter. So we'll see. Pantoja looked good against Kai Asakura. He ate that flying knee. He damn near knocked Kai Asakura out against the cage, and then he got the takedown, and then he eventually ended up choking him out. So we'll see. Pantoja, won a decision against Moreno, won a decision against Royval. And a lot of these fights, he's getting outstruck. He's getting pieced up on the feet, and then he's just able to get the fight to the ground and then just dominate there. So I'm seeing something similar here. As much as I want to pick Kai by KO or Kai by decision would be crazy, but I don't know, man. It's just hard to count out Alexandre having grappling success in these fights just because of what he's been able to do before against everybody else that he's fought over the course of this title reign. So we're going to go Pantoja to keep the belt and still 3 consecutive title defenses. We're going to see 4. And he's just going to keep going. He's going to keep going until maybe he reaches Mighty Mouse's record or until he loses. We'll see. Until he loses to Joshua Van. No. But, yeah, moving up to the main event, man, Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. I picked Volkanovski to beat Topuria. I picked Max Holloway to beat Topuria. I cannot pick Charles Oliveira to beat Topuria. I'm going Topuria by KO. This is a confident pick for me. We've seen Charles Oliveira. He gets dropped in nearly every fight that he's in. He got dropped by Dustin Poirier. He got dropped by Justin Gaethje. And even if you're saying, okay, he falls to his back voluntarily to play guard, to play jiu-jitsu, yes, you're right. But he is getting rocked by these shots. He's getting hit hard and he's getting hurt. And then he decides to just go to his back because it's safer there, essentially, laying on the ground than it is to continue standing. So he drops down to his back because he's feeling these shots. He drops down to his back to take a moment to recover. And then we've seen him hurt by nearly everybody that he's fought in these last few fights besides Tony fucking Ferguson. He almost got finished by Michael Chandler in their first fight. He got rocked bad by Dustin Poirier. He got rocked by Justin Gaethje before coming back and getting, landing a big right hand on Gaethje and then choking him out because Gaethje doesn't have much jiu-jitsu to speak of at all. And then he got dropped bad by Islam Makhachev and then submitted, arm triangle. He looked good against Beneil Dariush. Beneil was having a bit of success early with the wrestling and the top control, but he was able to just get Beneil out of there with a head kick and then just ground and pound following up. And, Beneil really didn't look great in that fight. And then coming off of a decision loss to Arman Tsarukyan, that was a really close fight. People argue that Oliveira could have won. And then he's coming off of a decision win where he just dominated Michael Chandler until Chandler kind of landed some shots towards the end, had Oliveira hurt, punched him in the back of the head like 50,000 times. Don't know why the referee didn't call that. Michael Chandler, you're a dirty bitch. But yeah. Ilia Topuria, we haven't seen him hurt in his fights, really. We saw him go 5 rounds with Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett kind of touched him in the 5th round there, made Topuria wrestle for the remainder of that round. But, Josh Emmett's a power puncher. Josh Emmett's a tough son of a bitch. And then, he just TKO'd Volkanovski, TKO'd Max Holloway. Those are 2 insane wins back-to-back. And then I just can't pick against Topuria when he's knocking these guys out that are super high level. And then Charles Oliveira gets rocked and almost, he gets hurt in every single fight. So I feel like with that last fight with Oliveira against Michael Chandler was swinging overhands at Oliveira, just insane, just ridiculous punches, And Michael Chandler throws the overhand, kind of trips over his own feet, falls down. Oliveira is able to, you know, kind of like establish a control position, and then I think he gets reversed by Chandler, and that's when Chandler starts throwing the million punches to the back of his head. So it's like if you're getting rocked by Michael Chandler, and if you're back up against the cage and you don't move your head whatsoever, and then like let me just show you guys this. Let me show you guys this clip here. This is what's making me pick Ilia Topuria, just the lack of head movement on sweet Jesus. The lack of head movement on Oliveira, just when he's hurt up against the side of the cage. Like, Topuria is not going to overthrow these punches and fall over his own feet and not get the finish. Topuria is going to stay on his feet, grounded, and he's going to land these shots properly. So let me just show you guys this right here.
Oh, right hand for
By Chandler. Big right hand by Chandler. Got some eye poke. Look at that shot that Chandler threw out of his ass. And then Charles Oliveira does not move his head at all. At all. Look at this. Woof. And Charles just stiff, didn't move his head whatsoever. Like, come on. And then he falls over his own feet because he overthrew. Topuria is not going to overthrow this punch. He's going to land that fucking punch. And yes, this is the 5th round against Charles, but I don't know, man. I feel like Topuria is just too clean, too powerful, too dangerous for Dubronx, for Charles just to be eating these punches. So we're picking Topuria. He's a confident pick. I'm picking him by KO. I feel like he's going to be able to get Charles out of there. And then, yeah, here we have the full fight card picks. Topuria KO round 2, Pantoja decision, Van decision, Dariush decision, Lima decision. That's a lot of decisions. Hopefully some of these fights are finishes. Gregor Rodriguez KO round 2, Emil decision, Araujo decision, McKinney KO round 1, Smith KO round 2, Denise KO round 1, and then Ewert decision. So those are going to be my picks, my dudes. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. Let me know what you're going to be betting on. Talk to me in the comments down below. Go ahead and like and subscribe. If you guys want to, you know, if you have any ideas for me to add to these videos, you know, I really wish that I could make more videos for you guys, but it's like I don't want to come on here and talk out of my ass without doing actual proper research on these fights and getting, you know, a structured idea of what it is that I want to talk about. And it's hard to watch tape, man. It's hard to invest time and do my tape study, you know, with work and everything else. But I do try to get it done so that I can come on here and give you guys some educated takes for the most part. You know, I'm not like a fucking high level fight analyst is the word. Jesus Christ, like Dan Hardy or some kind of full-time MMA fighter, like a champion, like Mighty Mouse. Like, I'm not going to come on here and break down the X's and O's for you guys like that. But, you know, I can look at these fights, and as a fan and as someone that follows the sport pretty hardcore, just let you know what I'm thinking. And we can have a discussion from there. But go ahead and like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Hopefully all your bets hit. Let's enjoy these fights. And that should be it for me, dudes. Peace out.